Gotta unbox them all! It's time for the Mad Merlins unboxing of Pokemon TCG Battle Deck Ampharos EX. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mad Merlins unboxing. Today we're taking a look at the Pokemon trading card game EX Battle Deck Ampharos EX. So this is a brand new starter deck system for the Pokemon TCG series, where you have battle decks. So these are perfect for beginners. As you can see, it's skill level 1. So yeah, pretty cool box. You get some awesome cards in here, and they have gone to the silver edging for all their cards, which is kind of cool. Nice addition, nice change. There was a time back when the silver edging was used for sort of exclusive cards, like replica decks of championship decks. I've got a couple of at home. And yeah, we have the contents here of the box. So first off, before we get into anything, don't forget to, of course, like the video if you are enjoying the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as it's the only way you can keep up to date with all my mad content. And of course, don't forget to check the links in the description down below, which include all my social medias, my eBay page, and the Mad Merlins Patreon, where you can help support the channel from as little as £3 a month. So yeah, any support you do give is greatly appreciated. You get your little shout out in the video, your name on the credits, and of course you help keep the videos coming, the lights on, and the teacups filled, and the biscuit barrel full of biscuits. Right, let's get into this battle box first. So on the front, we have our main Mon, Ampharos EX there. So it's pretty cool. On the side, we got contents of cards. So we get 1 Ampharos, 2 Flaffy, 3 Mareep, 3 Killer Wattrel, 3 Wattrel, 1 Staraptor, 2 Staravia, 3 Starly, 1 Miriadon, 2 Rotom, and 1 Flamigo. For our Pokemon. Then for our trainers, we get Nimona, 4 copies, Youngster, 4 copies, 1 copy of Jack, 2 Energy Retrieval, 2 Nest Ball, 2 Potion, 2 Switch, 2 Ultra Ball, and 1 Pokegear 3.0. Plus we get 18 basic Lightning Energies. So we've got a few there of some of the cards we get in the deck. And we get our full content. So in this box, we get our 1 ready-to-play 60-card deck, 3 reference cards, 1 rules booklet, 1 single-player game mat, set of damage counters, large metallic coin, a deck box, strategy sheet, and a code for using the deck online. So yeah. There is a new Pokemon TCG app coming out soon, so hopefully it might actually work on Android and I can play Pokemon on my phone instead of my half-dead PC. Right, let's take a look then in the actual contents of the box. Just, there we go, open up. So you got a scan there if you want to learn the different play levels. So it's basically going to be a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced. So here we have our cards, our coin there on the back. So let's have a look. So first off then we got our lovely metallic EX coin there with the Pokemon logo on the rear, and whoop, heads. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice big coin to help coin tossers in the game. We have our single player battle mat. So I'll zoom up a little bit so you can see. So yeah, pretty basic on one side, and then we got a more beginner friendly version on this side. So you got your prize cards here, your active Pokemon, your bench, your deck, and your discard pile. So yeah, pretty cool. Perfect way for if you're a beginner, helps you explain everything. Your turn is filled out there. Then you can use this side if you are a little bit more of an advanced player and you can understand things. Kind of nice that they've gone to having the single player mats in the boxes. it used to be you got a doubles player mat, which, well, mind you, in the olden days you never got a mat at all. You got a book, tokens, and that's pretty much it. But it's nice to have a single player mat, because usually when you have the 2-player mats and 2 people bought decks, 1 mat would end up going spare. No one would use it. Always good to have a spare mat, but it's kind of a bit of a waste of paper in the long run. Doing it this way, you have everything ready for you out of the box. So yeah, there's our playmat. So we've got our quick start rules reference here. So an overview of the contents of the box. What are Pokemon? The setting up of the battlefield. Before the game begins, what you do, you set your security, you draw your 7 cards, set a basic Pokemon, and then what you can do during your turn, continuing, so benching Pokemon, attaching energies only once per turn, retreating a Pokemon, evolving a Pokemon, playing your trainer cards, attacking, learning about weakness and resistance, knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. So if you knock out one, you take a prize card. First person to take all 6 is the winner, which is explained there for victory. Then we've got a couple of advanced rules. So we look at stuff such as Pokemon powers, what things can do on the first turn. You can't evolve on your first turn. The player who goes first can't attack or play supporter cards. And before you begin, you can mulligan. You can even set your bench up if you have a nice amount of basic Pokemon in your hand. And playing cards face down before you begin to reveal them to begin playing. Then we got special conditions. So much with the Pokemon game, you have asleep, burned, confused, paralyzed, and poisoned. And we got different markers here. So you can be both paralyzed, burnt, and poisoned at the same time. I believe you can have only one of the paralyzed, asleep, or confused, but you can have a combination of all of them for burned, poisoned, etc. And then we have the credits. So that's it for the book. We have, next up then, is a little strategy sheet just to explain the Ampharos deck itself. Discarding cards to do damage. Lightning type Pokemon in this deck are weak against fighting types, so watch out for facing up against fighting types, and making sure you recycle your energy with your trainer cards. And we even have a bit on the other deck available, which is the Lucario deck. If you would like to see a unboxing for the Lucario deck, let me know. I'll pick one up at some point. Next up then, we have our damage counter sheet. So 12 10s, 4 50s, and 2 100s. We got our baggie of quick reference cards, which should be very handy. We have our deck, of course the code, which I'll be using myself. And we have our main mon there. So let's zoom in and get a closer look at these cards. So we can take a closer look here at Ampharos EX. So it evolves from Fluffy, has 330 HP, is an electric type. Its attacks are Electro Ball, which does 60 damage, and Thunderstrike Tails for 140. Plus, if you discard 2 energy cards, you can do an extra 100 damage. He has a ×2 weakness to fighting, has no resistance, and has a retreat cost of 2. He has the EX rule, so your opponent will take 2 prizes if they knock out a Pokemon EX. And he's a promo as well, so he has alternate art compared to the Ampharos EX I'm guessing you'd find in a standard box of Pokemon cards. He's got a beautiful holographic effect with all these little stars on, which is kind of how Serenity envisioned the cards looking in Yu-Gi-Oh! When Tristan said they have stars all over them. But yeah, that looks really cool. It's nice. And of course we have our deck with all the other cards in. So let's take a look. Is this pre-shuffled? Yes, it might be. So, we have 18 of these basic electric energies. One upside down, apparently. So we have Youngster, so you can shuffle your hand in your deck and then draw 5. We have Watchful. So it has Collect, draw a card, and Glide, doing 20 damage. He has a weakness to himself, because he's a flying type, but he is resistant to fighting at least. And we got its Pokedex entry here. So when its wings catch the wind, the bones within produce electricity. This Pokemon dives into the ocean, catching prey by electrocuting them. And we have Killer Wattrel, he's evolved form. So he has Skill Dive. So this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you don't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. And Thunder Blast, discarding an electric energy, you deal 140 damage to your opponent. And his Pokedex entry, of course, is Killer Wattrel inflates its throat to amplify its electricity. Providing the wind, this Pokemon can fly over 430 miles in a day. So yeah, much the same as his previous form for weakness, resistance, and retreat cost. A few more energy. We got Mareep there. So she has Static Shock for 10 damage and Electro Ball for 40. Its fleece grows continually. In the summer, the fleece is fully shed, but it grows back within a week. Wow, that's a lot quicker than normal sheep. We have a potion, so healing 30 damage off one of your Pokemon. We have a switch. This allows you to switch your Pokemon for pretty much for free. We have Rotom with his linear attack, does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. With weakness to fighting ×2, resistance nothing, and is a retreat cost of 1. So he has research continues on this Pokemon, which could be the power source of a unique motor. We have Nemona, which allows you to draw 3 cards as a supporter. Jack. So search your deck for 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Ultra Ball, use this card if you discarded 2 other cards from your hand. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Another energy card, we have Starly with Flap. Does 20 damage, weakness to electricity, resistance to fighting, and retreat cost of 1 energy. So they flock around mountains and fields, chasing after bug Pokemon. Their singing is noisy and annoying. Yeah, much like starlings in real life. We have energy retrieval, so put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Nest Ball, search your deck for basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, shuffle your deck. Staravia, so evolves of Starly, has a wing attack for 40, speed dive for 80. Same weakness, resistance, and retreat cost as Starly. Then for its Pokedex entry, recognizing their own weaknesses, they always live in a group. When alone, a Staravia cries noisily. We got another copy of Youngster. We have Fluffy, so evolves from Mareep. Has Static Shock for 30 and Extreme Current for 80, which you are forced to discard an energy card to use. Weakness of ×2 to fighting, resistance of nothing, and retreat cost of 2 energy. As a result of storing too much electricity, it developed patches where even downy wool won't grow. We have Miraidon, 120 HP, so Sharp Fang for 30, Lightning Laser for 90. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Weakness to fighting, retreat cost of 0, no resistance. Is, wow, Pokemon 1008. Remember when it only used to be 150? Yeah, good times. But yeah, much remains unknown about this creature. It resembles Cyclizar, but it is far more ruthless and powerful. Yeah. We have one copy of Flamigo, who has Flap for 30 and Nosedive for 110, but does 20 damage to itself. Has a weakness to lightning for ×2, resistance to fighting for -30, and retreat cost of 1. Thanks to a behavior of theirs known as synchronizing, an entire flock of these Pokemon can attack simultaneously in perfect harmony. Wow, that's scary. Pokegear 3.0, so lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter, and shuffle the cards back into your deck. basic energy. Nemona again, another Wattrel, another Mareep, basic energy. Staraptor, so evolves from Staravia, 150 HP. Tailspin away, 60 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. And then you have Power Blast for 180, which requires you to discard a energy. So there's a lot of discarding energies in this deck. So luckily we have quite a few energy retrievals to get them back. So yeah, weakness to electric ×2, resistance -30 to fighting, and retreat cost 1. So much for flying Pokemon, they are pretty quick to retreat at least. When Staravia evolve into Staraptor, they leave the flock and to live alone. They have sturdy wings. We've got another Starly there, another Killer Wattrel, another Switch, more energies, another energy retrieval, another potion, another youngster, basic energy, Nemona, another Ultra Ball, another energy, another Nest Ball, Mareep, basic energy, Nemona, Rotom, Staravia, basic energy, Flaffy, Starly, Killer Wattrel, basic energy, and finally our youngster. And of course, we bring in Ampharos as well. So yeah, full 60 card deck, which is kind of pre-shuffled, but it's nicely split apart, so making shuffling a whole lot easier. Most decks will keep cards in a specific order when you get them, so it's usually... let's take Digimon for example. You have all your eggs first, then you have all your level 3s, all your level 4s, all your level 5s, all your options and all your tamers, which makes shuffling it straight out of the box kind of hard. You have to really mix it up. This way, yes, it's harder to review the deck straight out of the box because everything's all shuffled up, but it is a lot easier for helping you get started, which is what the deck's aimed at, really. Pretty cool. And electric types are probably some of my favourites. I think there's a lot of people's favourites, really. Yeah, right, I'll bring everything back in. I'll give you my final thoughts on this, as well as the price. So, there we have the unboxing for the Pokemon Battle Deck Ampharos EX. Yeah, I think really good deck. Nice beginner sort of entry deck, which is perfect for anyone picking up this game for the first time. If you've got a friend who's also getting into Pokemon, pick up the Lucario deck, and you have two decks that are ready to play against each other pretty much. You do, of course, have the disadvantage of being weak against fighting type decks, but there are a few Pokemon in here, mostly the flying types, which have the resistance to the fighting types, which makes a little bit more of a balance out for the deck. It's pretty cool. There's some of my favourite Pokemon in here, which is why I picked it up. I've recently just evolved a Staravia on my Pokemon Go account. And Ampharos is probably one of my favourite Pokemon from Gen 2. I just love the way it looks. It's like a kangaroo that has really cool like electric powers. But it evolves from a sheep, so I don't know how that actually ties into it being a kangaroo type Pokemon. It's weird. But I do like it. It's a nice design. And yeah, as I said, there's some really cool cards in here. Perfect cards for building your own deck, of course, which will be stage 3 is your more advanced deck, which will focus on specific strategies, focusing around specific Pokemon. This deck has a little bit of that, which is kind of cool, but it's more basic. There's not as many rules with a lot of the effects. It's mostly... it's mostly discard energy card in order to do extra damage or use the attack. Whereas some of the other Pokemon in the wider TCG have more details. They have Pokemon powers, which are another rule in itself, which are always active and give you a bit of a buff. There are also attacks that will have a little bit more of an effect on you overall. Some will force you to not be able to attack next turn, so stuff like Hyper Beam. There's other attacks that allow you to switch your opponent's Pokemon, like Whirlwind. Yeah, there's definitely some extra more in-depth rule stuff you can get into. So most likely stage 2 will be an intermediate sort of deck, and possibly maybe even the booster sets. I'm going to have to research how the play levels are done, but I'm guessing it's going to be basic deck, expansion via boosters, and then a pre-made, more tournament-ready sort of deck as an advanced thing. But of course, there's nothing stopping you from building your deck your way. Personally, I'm going to take this and probably add in a few extra cards from my own collection. And yeah, see how I go, because I'm definitely going to be adding some of my favourite cards, which happen to be dragon types. And yellow just match in nicely. But there we have it. I think that's pretty much all I can say. I do also want to cover, of course, you get some nice, awesome beginning stuff. It would be nice if you got the poison and burn tokens on the sheet, but as it is, you just get your damages of 10 and 50 and 100. I mean, it would be nice if it could even just double-side it, but your reference sheets are kind of handy. It's always good if you don't have a mat to have these reference cards to help you get through a game. Even if you're a beginner, more advanced player, having reference is never a bad thing. But yeah, you get a nice, easy to read beginner guide explaining you through your first few games of Pokemon. The strategy sheet is pretty cool. It tells you how the deck works in very simple terms. And all in all, a perfect little beginner deck for anybody starting to get into Pokemon. I know they've been changing the Pokemon TCG up a lot lately, and I think it's probably going in a good direction. It's definitely a challenger for one of the strongest and most unchanged trading card games out there. I know it's changed very little from how it used to play back when it first came out, back in the late 90s. It's much the same. You still have your 6 prize cards, you still have your 5 bench Pokemon, your 1 active Pokemon, you still have your 60 card deck limit. You, of course, have... There's much the same sort of play techniques. The only things are you have... Of course, Pokemon have evolved over time. They got more HP, they do more damage. There's new Pokemon, like the EX Pokemon, that net your opponent more prize cards for knocking them out. So there's definitely some changes, but they've all been fairly good and balanced changes. I think the only other game like this that hasn't changed terribly too much over the years is probably Magic the Gathering, and that is a pretty confusing game. I haven't played it in quite a few years, and yeah, I don't really see myself getting back into Magic anytime soon. I'm kind of enjoying Pokemon again, and as well as you've known Digimon, and I'm also a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels as well. So games like that, which are fairly simple to learn, but also can get into complexities, is a nice sort of game for anyone of any ages to get into. Though, of course, these are recommended for 6+, as small parts are included. The tokens are probably tempted to be eaten by anybody. I mean, they do look kind of like those edible stickers you get for topping up cakes. Punch them out, stick them on, and yeah. That's a shiny... I'm going off topic again. But yeah, I think I'm going to round out the video there. A really cool and awesome starter deck. Looking forward to expanding this deck and making it a bit more my own. Planning on getting down to my local store to hopefully play a few games against some people and try out different combinations of cards. So let me know what you think of this in the description, in the comment section even, down below. Let me know if you want me to review the Lucario deck. If you do, I will go pick it up and I'll put a review for that up shortly. But that's it for now. All that's left for me to do is say thank you all for watching. If you think I deserve it, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.